I'm broadcasting on Saturday today instead of Sunday morning from Unity Spiritual Center. I am Dr. Marlene Bricker, and I am so happy to be with you. This evening, I'm really excited about my talk. As I told you, we started with acronyms last week, and we're going to continue this for a little bit because I think they're really an easy way to make an impact. Before I start, though, I want to talk about unity and what we believe. Unity emphasizes the belief that God is good, God is love. Therefore, His will for you is good, happiness, health, supply, whatever contributes to your growth and unfoldment. Also, unity emphasizes God's impersonal aspect, God as principle. Above all, unity emphasizes the belief that God is within you. You have a divine potential. Now I want to read something, and this is really quite interesting. I found it when I was looking up some Charles Fillmore quotes, who is the founder of Unity. And this is really interesting. What I'm going to read you is from this book called The Master Key to Every Kingdom, Grace. And it's by Crichton Russ Boatwright. And this book was never published. Charles Fillmore actually wrote something about how much he loved this book. So I'm going to read you what she says about grace. Grace is the illimitable love of God in action. It is the triumph of the love of God for man over man's shortcomings. It is completeness. In expression, it is the full, immediate answer to the heart's sincere desire or prayer. It gathers up the dangling ends of a demonstration and finishes the work quickly so that the beauty of the accomplished design may be seen. Grace is above all toiling effort, all condemnation and self-condemnation. It does not know sin nor punishment for sin. It shines steadily on, the glory of the love of God manifest. It eases all struggle, comforts all sorrow, wipes away all tears. In itself it knows nothing of such things and erases them from minds and hearts, open to its distilled loveliness. I thought that was really a beautiful, beautiful passage. Now I want to read something from Isaiah 30:18. Yet the Lord longs to be gracious to you. Therefore he will rise up to show you compassion. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him. And now I'm going to give you my acronym for grace and read a writing to start us off this evening. Grace. G, gratitude. R, reigns. A, as. C, compassion. E, evolves. And I'm going to read it all together. Gratitude reigns as compassion evolves. Gratitude reigns as compassion evolves. And I love that acronym. Of course, I probably would because I wrote it, but I love it because I think that it really depicts what my sense of grace would be. Last week, the acronym was light, living in gracious harmony today. So grace, once again, is in that acronym, in the form of gracious. So I'm now going to read my writing, which is titled Dressed in Grace. What does it mean to be dressed in grace? I think for me it means a great deal. It is the best outfit money can buy. Oh, wait, no amount of money can buy you grace. It is something that I personally have spent much time on trying to cultivate. Get the trying, I'm still working on it. It is a hard thing to put in words. I am going to share with you again my acronym for grace. gratitude reigns as compassion evolves. For me, this assists in understanding grace. For me, being compassionate, forgiving, kind, caring, overlooking, even when I do it grudgingly, is how I am beginning to live in grace. Yes, beginning. I am not always living in grace. There are times when I know it. I am aware of my lack of grace, and I do not like it. It causes me to feel ugly inside. Outside, too. It is not an easy task. I want to share a few more words I found on grace that I thought were really beautiful. But being graceful and living with grace mean that you put grace before these other emotions, because grace is much more important. It means gracefully letting things go that are not meant for you. It means going beyond your inclinations of trying to get the upper hand or revenge on someone who hurt you. So, let us talk about grace in our own lives. When I began to look up this word and definitions and explore it, I saw many, many things talking about the gracefulness of a person, like physical grace, like when you see a dancer and you just see them seamlessly move through life, move through these movements, jump in the air, or I know what I'll pick. I'll pick ice skating, ice dancing, figure skating. If any of you have ever gone ice skating, it really isn't an easy thing to learn to stand on two blades and move around that skating rink. I remember how awkward it was, and I remember how excited I was when I could make a very ungraceful circle on the ice. In fact, it was a really big deal learning how to turn my blade sideways or put the sharp point on the figure skate onto the ice to stop. It was really awkward. And then I learned how to do a few little swirls backwards. I could probably do 3. Fast forward, watching the Olympics. I am watching these skaters literally fly over the ice. They are jumping. They are skating backwards. They are twirling. They are whirling. They are doing just about everything under the sun. Down on the ground as their foot is out, going in circles, or the man picking up the woman and flying her over his head as he's moving around on his skates. And wow, it looked so easy. Because the skaters were so graceful. They mastered what they were doing. They were able to literally master the art of skating. And that is what made it look so easy. That is what made it look so beautiful. Yet, when we're learning to skate, and it's your first time on the ice, or many, like myself, years of it, and I still wasn't good at it. It was fun, and I did it, and I could skate going forward without falling, but certainly never to the level that these beautiful skaters skated. Grace was an art. So now let's fast forward it into life. In life, we have all kinds of situations. We are confronted with so many different obstacles. Our jobs, our relationships, our weather, our anything and everything you could think of. You get up in the morning. I remember, excuse me, when we were first married and lived in an apartment, and we didn't have a garage. So when you got up in the morning and it was raining, or worse, snowing, your car was covered because there was nothing to protect it. And you'd have to get out in freezing cold and scrape the windshield and the back window before you could even get in the car. And back then, even if your car was new, they didn't heat up as quickly as our cars do today. And you'd get in your car and you're freezing and driving to work or wherever it was you were going. And so many times I thought, oh my God, I hate this. This is so uncomfortable. This is miserable. I wish I had a garage. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. And I realized I wasn't living in gratitude, and I certainly wasn't living in grace. And the irony of it is that I would have gone through the same thing, but I would have gone through it with a different attitude. And that makes all the difference in the world. So, as we're on this human journey, knowing we are spiritual beings, we can begin to use our spiritual skills. We can start forming the art and the arts of life that will take us so much further, so much easier. It will make such a difference on how we relate to people if we are just able to do some things gracefully. So what do I mean by that? So most of us work, or we have worked, or we have families, or we have friends, or we go to the store. And daily things happen. And sometimes they aren't exactly as you planned. Like, for example, we do boutique shows in the fall. That's actually why I'm speaking tonight instead of tomorrow, because tomorrow we will be doing a show. Sometimes when we go to these shows, we have a spot where that's been assigned to us to set up that perhaps isn't the most ideal spot. It could be in the back, it could be, we were in one the other night where actually a lot of people didn't know the room that we were in. It worked out great anyway, but we looked at it and went, okay, this isn't our ideal spot, it isn't our usual one, we'll make it do. And then sometimes there are vendors there that complain the whole time about where they are, and this isn't okay, and that isn't okay, and whatever. And it's interesting because now I enjoy watching the way that different people handle, what do I want to call it? Life. L-I-F-E. Life. Because in life, we don't get every single thing the way we think we should have it. So, an example. I think I should be able to be in this place, in this particular venue, but someone has to be here because there's these many tables and these many vendors. Someone has to be there. Why not me? Someone has to be there. So I've decided that I'm going to look at every single thing that happens in my life, even if it isn't something, if it isn't going the way that I think it should, but look at it and see, how can I handle it with grace? How can I handle with grace the person that is totally rude in the grocery store? Can I do that? I have to say that sometimes it's a challenge. Many times it is a challenge, and it's a challenge for most of us because it is almost as though it is in our intrinsic nature that when someone says something that we find to be off-putting or insulting or hurtful, it is as though we want to strike back. I want to get back at that person. And I remember when I was a little girl and my parents would punish me, I would lay in bed and think, when I'm going to die and they're going to be standing over me crying and all of these things because they didn't let me do what I wanted to do at that time. How I was going to get back at them. And I have to say that if I really want to grow, I need to be 100% honest. That wasn't only when I was a little girl. Many times as an adult, when certain things happened to me that I felt were totally unfair, I would try to think of ways that I could get back at that person. And I realize now how that never got me anywhere. It didn't feel good. It didn't help ease the pain of the situation. It didn't change the situation. But it took something away from me. And now I try to give it an entirely different paradigm. When something happens and I feel like I want to lash out, I stop. I stop and I pause. And I take a moment to think. Is that really who that person is? Or is that just how they are behaving? If someone is behaving in this way and they are so angry and they are being so hateful, something must be going on inside of them, because anger is fear. That's all it is. It's fear. When we get angry, it is because we are fearing that something that is important to us is being attacked or possibly going to be taken away. You're driving down the street, someone cuts right in front of you, it makes you furious. Why? Because it scared you. It absolutely scared you. They put your life in jeopardy. And so you were angry. But if you really get down into that feeling, it was fear, and you were angry at that person for putting you in a compromised position. But maybe that person just wasn't thinking. Or, do I really need to call that person a name? Is that going to help the situation? Or can I just say, okay, bless them on their journey, and let's hope that they don't hurt themselves or anyone else? So I've come up with a little method for myself, and it's all about gardens. When we plant a garden, that garden is going to give us exactly what that seed is. If you plant a rose, you will get a rose. There is no way that you're going to plant a rose bush and get a crop of corn. It isn't going to happen. So I look at my life exactly the same way. That if I'm going to go out there and scowl at everyone and complain to everyone, that's what I'm going to get back. But if I go out into the world and I smile and I give compliments and I'm kind and I'm appreciative and I put on my best outfit of grace before I walk through that door, that is what I'm going to get back. Because we get what we put out. That is the way that the world works. We never need to take revenge. All we need to do is wish each person in our lives the garden they planted. And that's how simple it is. So when you think about getting dressed in the morning, when you think about what it is that you're going to do, when you think about maybe going to a store, having lunch with a friend, whatever it is that you want to do, think about going into your closet and imagining that your clothes are just robes of grace, robes of royalty, robes of beauty. And before you leave your house, you are going to dress in the most beautiful outfit of grace that you could possibly imagine. I think living in grace is a very difficult thing to achieve initially. And I think it's something that we work on through our own lives, through our whole life. When you think about being a teenager and when you were so volatile, something happened and you blew up, and sometimes we weren't always aware of where we were blowing up and how that was affecting other people, how that behavior affected all of those people around us. But we did it. We didn't know any better. But as we grow and we begin to know and we begin to understand and we begin to see how our actions affect those around us, perhaps that's the time to look at it and say, how could I have handled that more graciously? I have come across many, many people in my lifetime who can be a bit cantankerous or angry, or maybe they're not even angry, but when they talk, they sound like they're angry. And, you know, my mother was like that, and she could get so angry. And if I would say something to her, she'd say, well, this is who I am. You'll just have to get used to it. And my thought always was, why? Why do I have to get used to someone being angry and mean, for no better word? Wouldn't it be nicer if that person, or I'm going to say me, that if someone says to me, when I am spoken to like that, I feel slighted, I feel hurt, I feel unhappy, my feelings are hurt, that I would say to them, I am so sorry, that isn't what I meant. Could we set up a system so that if I'm talking and I say something that is hurtful to you, that you give me a signal, or you let me know so I can work on changing that behavior? Because I don't want to go through life hurting people. That's how we begin the journey of grace and gratitude and all that is good. I want to read the poem that I wrote to kind of talk us out here this evening, and then we will do a short meditation. When I take my clothes out for the day, I am looking for grace. That is the way I want to dress from now on, each day. What a difference. Wow. Acting with love and compassion towards others as though all are sisters and brothers gives me great pleasure. I see it as a treasure I did not understand, yet now I do. I will not forget what it feels like to dress in grace. It puts a glow on my face. It warms my heart as I do my part. Every day I will commit to making dressing in grace a priority, taking a moment to think, to know. This is how my grace will grow until it becomes the only way I live, dressed in grace each and every day. So now I ask that you take a deep breath and you just find that comfortable spot, wherever that may be, wherever you are sitting, resting, or standing. And as you breathe in every graceful moment that you have remembered in your life. As you breathe out all the anger and all the sorrow and all the thoughts that have not helped you at all on your journey. And you see them passing you by one by one by one, evaporating, moving, becoming just part of the air or part of the universe. And you are becoming lighter and lighter, more and more filled with joy and buoyancy and gratitude, almost like you feel like you're the caterpillar, you're in the cocoon. And the cocoon is opening bit by bit. And you feel your little wings begin to flutter until all of a sudden you have broken through that cocoon and you have taken flight. You are free. You are free from the chains that have bound you. The chains of wanting revenge, the chains of sadness. And you are filled with a newfound joy and beauty and lightness. And you open your closet and you have that magic wand in your hand and you touch each and every garment in that closet. And you see it glitter and shine as it has been touched by the hand of grace. And now you know that every time you put on your clothing, you are dressed in grace and you are blessed. And now become aware of your fingers and your toes. Wiggle them, move your shoulders, perhaps your head to the right or the left. Shake it yes and shake it no. And when you are ready, open your eyes and focus on something you did not notice before. Thank you so much for being here with us. I hope there's some new people out there tonight since we're broadcasting at a different time. And again, I would like to tell you, we are Unity Spiritual Center in Collinsville. We operate solely on donations by wonderful people like yourself. You can find how to do this on our website or on our Facebook page. Please, please, please put your comments. Let us know that you heard us. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like to hear, because we are constantly thinking of new ideas and new ways to reach all of you out there. Unity welcomes everyone and anyone wherever you are on your path, and whatever that path looks like, you are welcome here. So I would like to thank you so much for being here with us. And I bless you and wish you an amazing week. And we will be live at Unity Spiritual Center in Collinsville next Sunday. 11 a.m. is the service. Thank you so much.